welcome back to part 29 of Death End Request, where today, moving on again with the main plot, we're going to be working towards Landor Cave, and then attempting to find the Terminal Stone. But to get to Landor Cave is a bit of a peculiar way. Like, I remember a lot of people getting stuck here when it says, okay, somebody went to Landor Cave. You're like, okay, how? But I actually stumbled upon it myself because I've been meaning to check out if you could do this in the first place. So the fact that it now lets you is good. What you need to do is actually return to the SHAREfactory Temple. And as you can see, I'm doing one last check over to see if the shop's updated, which at this point I don't think it has. Because we're still in the same chapter that of the last part, we hadn't actually advanced the plot last part. But when you go to leave the SHAREfactory Temple, go to the front door and go to leave that way. I know it might sound weird to do so, but yeah, it's actually an entirely new area here, because when you think we got here via cutscenes and loopholes and we left through dimensional leaps, we never went outside the front entrance to SHAREfactory Temple. But doing so, you access this completely new field. It's the first new area we've had in a while, even if it is just another wasteland aesthetic, but beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. I've mentioned it before, but that's something I really hope the sequel does away with. Transitioning areas should be more interesting than this. The fact that literally all the transitional areas between like the main areas are all wastelands, it gets dull real quick. Like, it's like, okay, we're on the path to another thing, but it's just another route. Like, it's the same in, like, say, like the earlier Pokemons, and I knew they couldn't really help it because they were 8-bit games, but like between each town is just another grass field, and you're like the aesthetic got boring real quick. But this isn't an 8-bit Game Boy Color game. This is a PS4 title, so like, little budget or not, there should be more of an effort for variety here. I mean, hey, keep in mind, in part 1, for a very short amount of time, we were in a field of grass, because there's that one hut in the middle of nowhere, where we started from. That means the grass field is in the game's coding, so why not just make one of these areas just all grass? Just something different, please! But there are a plethora of new encounters here, and genuine new encounters, which is nice, because I was starting to get tired of the kind of new encounters, but it's just the same enemy reskinned. But the experience they drop here, for the first time since Heartless Palace, is actually really strong, so make the most of it, and there's also a save point, like, right here. So there's no reason for you to not be prepared right out the gate. I do my obligatory check to see if anyone's got anything new to say, because I never remember when the new, like, benchmarks are for people to say new things. And then when you're ready, you move on. This encounter coming up we've already done, so I'm skipping it, and it's a good thing too, because if I remember rightly, yeah, so I remember rightly, I got my ass kicked. Look at Celica's health. You know, 217. God. But as we're approaching Landor Cave, the warning to give you is be prepared, because the game is going to start getting a lot tougher. Like, the game's difficulty as a whole can be pretty tough, but it's pretty smooth sailing for the most part. But this is the first area where, if you're not prepared and don't have a strategy for each fight once you're in Landor Cave, you might catch yourself by surprise when you lose a fight. Like, it could be a completely normal encounter, but you just get dogpiled, or something unexpected happens and you just lose. You need to be prepared for that. The game is going to start getting tougher, especially because we're in chapter 10 now. Well, chapter 9, sorry. When we go into chapter 10, especially, the boss fights start getting ridiculous with their setups and what you need to do to get around them. So you need to start working on a strategy if you haven't already. If you're playing on hard, you've already had this issue for quite a while. But if you're playing on normal, like, I don't know about easy, so I've never played this game on easy, but if you're playing on normal, you need to start getting, like, strategies together and team compositions together and start thinking about how you want to handle this, because the game is going to start getting a hell of a lot tougher. It's why at the end of Landor Cave, when we beat it in a couple parts, they give you Pandemic Self, because they know it's going to be a necessary evil to get through the last couple chapters of the game. And it's just nice to have. And you're going to see the very first thing I do when I get it is go straight to the Strain area to see if I can upgrade it, because you can upgrade all your Code Jack abilities to have a stronger effect. Except the ones that change the bugs on the field. The ones that change the bugs on the field, if you quote-unquote upgrade them, you just get a version that changes the bugs differently, so you can get access to different bugs at your own command. None of them are too powerful, so I don't think you can suddenly make all of them invincibility bugs or something, but they are They can be helpful if you spend the time upgrading them. I won't be bothering because I kind of like gathering the resources to upgrade them isn't something I can expect everyone to do. The only reason I'm making Pandemic Self the exception is because I haven't got any of the others, so I'm pretty much guaranteed to have the materials for it. Another one that might be worth upgrading is Antidote Enemy, because you don't want them to go into 100% corruption and get their stronger state, especially in these last few chapters. So upgrading that so you can chunk out 50% of their corruption in one go might be a lifesaver. Because once they're corrupted, they're gone. You can't get them out of it. As far as I'm aware, you can't get them out of it. So making it so you can stop them from getting there by the time they're in like 80-90%, just cutting it off by half, that can really make the difference in the fight. Also, my throat sounds a little more tired. Don't worry, I'm not unwell again. It was just because I was working last night, and because I like to keep on top of this schedule, I'm just a little bit more tired than usual. But it's not too bad. It's not like I had a bad night's sleep, I just got less of it. But look at the experience, we get like 100,000 per encounter. That's what I mean. Like, even like if you're struggling in Landor Cave, come out of it and enter this area and just grind on the enemies here, because they're a lot more manageable. I say that as we enter the guys that can actually be quite problematic, you don't know how to deal with them. These little dragon things here, they can actually be quite a lot of trouble in this area if you let them. Especially because they're usually not alone. If you get into an encounter with one, there's usually more than one. Like, you'd be very lucky if you get into an encounter where there's only like one or two of them. And so they can very easily swamp you if given the opportunity, which is why I just went full on Asta League and just went full force, like, attack! But you might have noticed that similar to last part, this part is incredibly long. And the reasoning being is where I was originally going to end this part made this video too short. So eventually I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do another chunk of the recording and see what happens. The idea being is that the original recording ended after I get to the save point at Landor. So I got to the Landor Cave, there's new scenes there for us to talk to the group about, and then after that I ended the part. Well, I ended the recording kind of thing. But then when I went back through it, I was like, this isn't really that long. I could probably fit more on that here anyway. Like, there's like, oh, at least do more. So eventually I decided I'd do a lap around the first floor of Landor Cave to show off the enemies and loot you can find, which extended the length quite significantly because of one specific encounter we'll get to when we get to it. But then what made it even worse is that the super boss is in Landor Cave. The super boss of this game is waiting for you on the first floor of Landor Cave. It's a little out the way, but if you spot it, you know it's there. I decided to challenge it to finish off the recording, not expecting to win, and I end up winning. And so the video got extended even further because I was like, holy shit, I won. The item you get for defeating the super boss I will not be using full stop because it is stupidly overpowered. Like, I mean obscenely overpowered. It's not like, say, like the almighty orb in the Persona games, but it might as well be, because it boosts all your stats. Like, I think like your health and SP both get boosted by, well, your health gets boosted by 9,999, so your health caps out. It boosts your magic by 999, so your magic is capped out. It boosts your attack and magic attack by 300. It boosts your defense and magic defense by 100, and then boosts the rest of your stats by 500. Like, if you equip it on a character, they're not going down in a fight ever. They've got too much health, too much force of power, too much magic access to them, way too much defense, and they're gonna go first every time because their agility is boosted by 500. Like, the item is called the Death End Recital. If you're really struggling in hard mode, absolutely make a beeline and push your hardest to beat the super boss, because there is a few cheesy strategies you can use to deal with the super boss, but god damn is it broken. But we got a cutscene. You're not going to speak with her? Huh? I can tell you've been watching Claire. I just figured you wanted to say something. I can't help from staring at her. It's hard to shake this feeling. What do you mean? See, it wasn't just Lily. After her, Al and Lucille both showed signs of extreme mental duress. Now I'm just biding my time until Claire and Celica exhibit similar breakdowns. I mean, it's only a matter of time. I see, you have a point. Logic leans in your favour. If you're right, then we can identify what emotions they're missing ahead of time. We might be able to rethink how we approach them. Right, if possible, I'd like them to regain their missing emotions painlessly. I don't know how much more I can watch them suffer. Yeah, you said it. Is that why you've been keeping a close eye on Claire? Yes, first I was observing Celica, but she's so expressive it's hard to pin down. Then I thought Claire might have a more obvious tell. I think I should keep what... Wait, where'd she go? Where'd Claire go? She was leading us in the front just a moment ago. Right here. Jeez, Claire. Where did you get behind us? I thought you two had fallen behind, so I came back around to get you. Who are you talking about? You've been watching me. Don't try and hide it. Let's make one thing clear. I won't lose my mind like the others have. My emotions are completely intact. She's sharp. I mean, I saw what happened with Lucille too. I was there. It's only natural you'd assume someone else is next. In that case, let's cut to the chase. Do you have any inkling as to what feeling you might have lost touch with? Don't worry. Like I said, my emotions are intact. Don't waste any more time chasing shadows. I'd rather you focus on tracking the giant martyr who ate the terminal stone. Okay, thanks, Claire. Don't mention it. Just know next time you question me, I'll have to bill you. What? Do you think I was paranoid for nothing? She says she doesn't feel out of touch with any of her emotions. Maybe she really hasn't lost any of them. Claire seems pretty self-assured and confident. True. Besides, it's not like she's uncomfortable letting her feelings be known. Well said. Still, it's better to be safe than sorry. I'd rather be wrong than unprepared. Okay. That might be why, like I said, because Claire's the only version that we don't fight their outlandish glitch mode, extreme emotional insanity version of them, which is why you fight her as an optional boss in the first DLC. Because I said, yeah, because I know that completely gives away that we're absolutely gonna have Celica have one later on, but that's not till later on, and I'll let you guys ponder what emotion she's missing. When they say it is one of those like, oh right, but when I was trying to work it out, I had no goddamn clue what she was missing. but Claire, like, I theorized from very early on it might be something along the line of fear, and although she has shown concern and worry for others at points in the game, it's never been like straight up fear for her own well-being. So I kind of was like, maybe it's that, but it's hard to tell. But either way, we do have a new encounter, these being these green horse-like beings over there, so I had to include this encounter. That's the thing, and I'm gonna have it again when it gets to that point later on in the video, when we get to that one specific enemy I've already alluded to that I really don't like. It's trying to figure out how to describe some of them. Because you look at a couple of them and you sit there and you go, okay, that's a centipede, okay, that's horse-like. But then there's other ones and you sit there and go, okay, what? Like, I get that they're supposed to be glitches and they're not supposed to exist, so their designs aren't always supposed to make sense, but still. But as we defeat this enemy and like beat the Kingdom Come, and get a real healthy amount of experience yet again, our next transitional area, this, will actually take us into Landor Cave. We're finally here. Looks like the giant martyr is nested around the volcanic range. Of course you had to choose the most sweltering armpit on the planet. I'm gonna melt. If we don't move fast, I'll turn into soup. Now, just consider this part of your training, okay? I can't. Battling inside a cave dusted with pools of lava is just asking for trouble. I mean, there's already little room to move around as is, and our enemies are huge. I know, I can hear the fearsome stomps of the martyrs echoing from beyond the tunnel. It would not be wise to be here for long. Let's hurry up and find that terminal stone. I got sweat in places I didn't know I have. Fine, I guess I'll suck it up for a bit. She knows everything alright? Yes, I think so, but this entire cave is bugged out. Yeah, no kidding. If past experience has taught us anything, it's going to get harder from here. I expect the source of these bugs is waiting for us in the deepest part of the cave. You mean an Atoma Queen? Afraid so. Make sure everyone stays hydrated. The heat's on. Gotta stay hydrated, kids. But yeah, look at this goddamn place. Like, to be fair, yeah, I'm not as criticising the aesthetic of like the transitional areas, but when it actually comes to the main area, except maybe the shipyard, I really like all of them. Like, the shipyard I think is just a bit forgettable, but the rest of them, like this, no, you're not on the edge of a volcano, you're inside a cave that's volcanic. There's giant fossils of creatures that used to be here scattered around. The range is explosive. The music with the track's called Inferno is amazing. Like, it's extremely intense and fierce, and it works perfectly for this tension of this piece and this area. But that being said, as we do a bit, I'll do a bit more of clean-up shopping, so I was a bit aware we're running low on some of our items. And I'll do one last check over, even though once again we have an advanced chapter, so there's not gonna be new weapons. I sell the Beast Clan inserts because they're always only good for selling. And decide to make camp here, and almost everyone has something to say, so a good 10 minutes of this video is going to be talking to everyone now. We almost made it to the Sky Capital. Feels surreal. Yeah, we've overcome so much. I never anticipated making so many friends along the way. Same here. At first I thought this journey was going to be a painful one. With your help though, I was able to muster up the courage. But once I became acquainted with our party, this adventure became a reason to explore an entire world, something I would never dreamt possible. Glad you feel that way, though I could have done without the loud outbursts from the girls. I'm happy to see we've made it this far together. I know. Whenever the group was together, I couldn't help myself from smiling and laughing, considering how much despair the people of this world have experienced. I have to cherish moments spent with those I care about most. Well put, what a journey it's been. When you stop to think about the memories we made along the way, what comes to mind is the laughter, all thanks to our friends. What's the matter? So if I'm able to return to the real world safely, will it become of everyone else? I know this is something we'll have to deal with sooner rather than later. Right. Once I return to the real world and restore the default settings, it'll remove the bugs, but all of the girls will return to their normal states. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way. The NPC girls have minds connected to the real world, just like you, Sheena. There's a chance we could reunite on the other side. That's why we're going to turn the NPCs into their normal selves. Leave it to me, I'll make sure they wake up next to you on the other side, Sheena. But even if they actually do exist in the real world, what if they don't remember the times we shared together? That, I can't say. I hope they'd hold on to us. Huh? I don't want them to forget me. I'm terrified of waking up without any memories of the friends we've made. Hey, cheer up. There's no guarantee you'll lose them, right? Huh? So long as the two of us remember, then the memories of our journey will survive. If you're able to wake up next to them and introduce yourself, maybe you'll be able to jog their memories too. But what if as soon as I return to my body, I lose all of my memories again, this time with our new friends? If that happens, you can bet I'll tell you all about it. I remember everything. I won't let your existence or what you did here be in vain. Besides, who knows what will happen? As likely as they're to forget you, one could also predict that they're just as likely to retain their memories. It's important to prepare for the worst, but think a little optimism is what we need to make the world a brighter place. Point well taken. It's easy to let negative thoughts stir up when you let them linger without expressing them. Alright, don't worry about a thing. I'm a genius after all. I'll make sure you get the true ending you deserve. I know I can count on you. Did you just laugh? Sorry, must be relief. I really can count on you. It's a 50-50 chance. If you say so, Mizunaishi, then I'll believe. Cool. Hey Al, you got a sec? Oh, what's up? What do you want? Well, there's something I wanted to ask. Oh sure, I'll answer anything. Was she crying? What am I saying? Of course, how could she not be? No matter what kind of front she puts up, Al is still a kid and a girl. Never mind, it can wait. Were you crying just now? What are you talking about? You stupid! I wasn't crying, I was just feeling sleepy. My eyes got all teary when I yawned. Man, you're still a kid. You don't have to act so tough all the time. You're welcome to cry as much as you'd like. Enigma, you can leave. If you'd like alone time, then I'll go. My parents were murdered, so I'm all alone regardless. So regardless of what comes next, I'll have to figure stuff out on my own. It's nice of you to worry me and all, but you don't have to. You're not alone. Huh? I know that we're no replacement for your family, but you have friends who care about you, as if they were your own flesh and blood. That of course includes me. Don't hang me out to dry, come on, we're here for you. If you don't think I'm suitable as a friend, then you've got Sheena and Lily too. Sorry, Enigma. It's just that everyone means so much to me. I can tell, sorry, probably could have phrased it better, right? I was looking forward to seeing my mum and my dad again. There's so much I've been wanting to tell them. The list only grew as our journey went on, but now I'll never get the chance. I'm sure you'll see them again someday. I'll do whatever I can to find your parents. They're already dead though, so you can't. You say the weirdest stuff sometimes, Enigma. Even if her parents in the world are long gone, maybe she'll be able to see her real parents. You're a sweetheart, Enigma. I appreciate the thought. Yeah, that's right. Show some respect. Alright, I take it back. Oh, looks like she's right back to normal. Enigma, thanks for that. Huh? Alright, let's race back to the others. Last one there's a rotten bear. Hey, man, she's still just a kid. It's almost time, Mr. Enigma. I know, next we just got down this road. I'll let Celica know since she's leading the pack. Got it, thanks. Hey, there's something I don't get. How are you two so good at navigating us through these places? Is it that strange? Seems normal to me. Normal, huh? Well, even the famous Celica doesn't know much about the route leading to the mystical sky capital, so what are you two hiding? Ah, crap, Claire's Sharper's attack. I need to choose my words very carefully. I guess I could leave the answering to Sheena, but in the meantime I'll try and buy her time to think of an answer. Oh, I don't really know. Maybe you could try asking Sheena. Wait, you're the most suspicious one of all, Enigma.
This isn't good.
What? Me? You're always supporting us in battle, but how the hell does it work? It's not magic, right? I'm not a mage. I am a mage. How should I respond? It's not magic per se, but if that's how you want to look at it, fine by me. That's a simpler term. You're deflecting. Why don't you show me what you can really do? What? I can't just summon my abilities on the fly. Hey, don't point your weapon at me! Only when confronted with death can one access their true power. Now, you ready? Hey, this is all we big understanding. All I'm saying is it's not just magic. If that's the case, then it can only mean one thing. You might be a shot in the dark, bud. Remain calm. There's no way she'd find out. She has no conception of the real or virtual worlds. Easy now, just speak slowly, so she doesn't try analysing any more of your behaviours. So, what could it be then? You two must be the creators of this world. Huh? What? How'd she figure it out? Suppose that every world has a god. In this case, it's you two. It would all make sense. How do you know what, where, and why everything in this world is? You're practically omnipotent. It all makes sense. So, care to comment? Well, shit, if I try and deny her argument, things could just get worse. I got no choice but to run. Man, anyways, this volcano is sweltering. I need some fresh air. Catch you later. I thought he said he can't feel changes in temperature in that suit. What a funny little bear. Lily, what's the matter? Enigma, well, I've been doing some thinking lately. Oh, I see, my bad. I didn't bother you, did I? No, I'm pleased to see you. I was just hoping to speak with someone about it. Oh, well, if you want, I'm all ears. Thank you. It pertains to that dream of mine again. The dream? Wait, is that the dream about the real world that everyone else has been seeing? Yes, I dreamt about a family of whom I lived in a quaint house, but I can't shake this eerie feeling. So I've been thinking, what is the eerie feeling? It feels like I'm unwanted, you know. There are others who live with me inside the home, and yet I feel terribly alone. When you say others, are you referring to your family inside of the dream, Lily? I don't know. There was a man close to my father's age and his partner. If they're indeed my parents, why would I feel so isolated? It reminds me of the days I'd spent with the Queen. You mean when you lived at Heartis? Yes, though the two situations are not one and the same. Even when I was in prison, there was no sense of dreadful anxiety as I had felt in my dream. I was gripped by a harsh black terror in the dream, unfulfillment, like someone had carved a hole in the centre of my heart. Sounds like a hell of a dream, huh? I wonder what it could all mean. Now that she mentions it, Lily had just escaped from her cell when we first met. The conditions in which she suffered were brutal, but she herself said her dream was even worse. Heh, what's the matter? You didn't need to be sad for my sake. Oh, was I frowning? I should probably say something to cheer her up. You too, Lily. Huh? You shouldn't have to force yourself to smile. I mean, it bothers you, doesn't it? Right. The only one here is me. You don't have to hang your head as long as I'm here. I cannot thank you enough. Could we stay like this for just a while longer? Sure. You're so warm. Can you hear my heartbeat? Yes, I can. I can hear yours too. Being close to you is comforting. It tells me I'm not alone. I'm fine now. Besides, the dream wasn't all that bad. Huh? Sure, loneliness is something to scoff at, but there was something nostalgic about the memory too. What was it? Was it the setting? Yes, actually. I found myself in a quaint home. The furnishings were foreign to me, but it felt familiar all the same. Quite surreal. Nostalgic, huh? She might be tapping into her subconscious memories through her dreams. The NPCs are undoubtedly connected in the real world. Lily's unnerving loneliness might be more than just a coincidence. There could be a link between her altered character backstory and her subconscious memories. I should look into it more. Enigma, something wrong? Oh, no worries. Why don't we rejoin the others? They're waiting for us. Okay. No matter what truths we uncover, as long as you've got your friends by your side, you'll be fine, right, Lily? That's sweet. Now on to Celica. I give up. What's gotten you so wound up? It's about this world. This world? Is there a place you've been meaning to explore? Contrary to my glowing reputation, there are other things I'm interested in than exploring. I've got something larger on my mind, like the god that molded this world into being. God? Oh, I mean, someone has to create this world, right? Sure, I guess I see where you're coming from. Yup. My dream is to help forge an era of peace without any more of these martyrs. Perhaps there is a bigger reason behind all of this, though. Is there something in particular that you would suggest fixing? Yep, don't you think the aesthetic is a bit gaudy? It'd be better to scale down, don't you think? Maybe when we reach the sky capital, God will heed my suggestion. Celica has no idea who she's talking to. Nor does she understand that there's nothing waiting for them in Odysseus, simply a map that initiates the endgame. For Celica and the girls, however, it seems like to symbolize something, a true pinnacle of achievement, but soon they'll find out. Who knows? Design stuff goes way over my head. It could all be random. Then again, if this world had no bugs and existed in a peace with no strife, there'd be no real reason to explore it. It'd be boring. Indeed, you've got a point. If I'd never chosen to explore this desolate world, then Al would have never been inspired to be an adventurer like me. It's the butterfly effect. Regardless, I stand by what I said. There must be some larger reason for why things unfold as they do. You mean like fate? Perhaps, or more appropriately, God. You've been thinking about this, haven't you? Yes. Does that surprise you? I quite enjoy periods of contemplation. Shoot, I was supposed to train with Al. Thanks for listening, Enigma. Sure, good luck. There must be a God, huh? If God really does exist in the real world, I wonder if he observes what he created, just like how Sheena and I do. I don't know if I like the sound of that. Last but not least, well no, I think Rapuka might have something to say as well. That laugh, is that Lucille? What are you doing here, chuckling to yourself? Ah! Someone's in a good mood, what's so funny? Lucille? I caught myself in revere. Ever since I regained my lost emotions, my memories have been flooding back to me, so I can't help but laugh. You don't say, I've had my fair share of laughs from looking back at the past. Am I weird? Not at all. I think it's normal to think fondly back on the things that made you smile. That's nice to hear. She's only just recovered her sense of joy, so maybe it's a lot to handle at once. Wait, if the past is on her mind, I doubt she's finding much humour in her exile. Hey, Lucille? Huh? No, I can't just blurt it out. Lucille, may I ask what you're laughing about? I was remembering the moments following when I first met you and Sheena. Long before that, I've been exiled from my village, so I don't really have many fond memories aside from Mitan. I knew it. What's to come or the past? Ooh. Well, here's to creating more happy memories in the future. I am at my happiness when I'm with my buggy and the rest of you guys. Because of these new memories I've made, perhaps if tragedy were to strike again, then I could emerge from it in a better place. It looks like you've taken well to laughter. When you laugh too much, do your cheeks hurt? Yes, but in a good way. Smiling suits you. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you for everything. Sure thing. Ah, that's a nice thing to have. Like I said, it's the same when we did the first DLC. I wish there was more, a lot more, just little scenes. Like in the second game, what I'd love for them to do is to take a page out of either the Tales game or the Bravely games, like Bravely Default, Bravely Second, and have like these mini cutscenes. Like once an event happens, you just tap a button, and it'll bring up like a dialogue box of like these little mini portraits, like not a full-on like cutscene. Like these little portrait boxes. Like if you play Tales of Berseria, because that's the only one I can think of that I've played, you know exactly what I mean. Like every 5 minutes you get a new thing where you just tap a button and the characters will have something to say between themselves. And it's just like filler talk most of the time, just a little banter, a discussion of what's gone on. But I kind of would love for them to do something like that so you can get a lot more character moments like that. Because the only time you get them is very sparingly at camps. And I wish there was a lot more of them, because I said the ones in the DLC, and that one in particular, does so much for adding to the characters. It really does. Also, the new bugs in this area, the yellow ones are your worst nightmare if you haven't got someone who's immune to stun. The moment you touch a yellow one, it will end their turn because stun stops even being able to do anything.
Leave it to me.
Thankfully, Celica and Sheena, I believe, are both resistant to it, or resilient to it, so they're fine. But Al isn't. Al is absolutely not. Al will absolutely lose a turn if she's affected by it.
Blast off.
But like I said, Landor Cave as a whole
Leave it to me.
is a tremendous horror fest in terms of how brutal it can be. It is extremely difficult if you're not prepared,
Guess it's all up.
and will absolutely be a wall for you if you're not ready for it. The experience is great here. Like I said, 120,000 experience, that's amazing. And you might notice on the minimap there's 2 exclamation marks. One of them is plot, which is the one above, and that one below in the bottom right corner, that's the super boss. That's the optional super boss against the Omega Brain, which we will be fighting later on in this part. So I guess look forward to that.
This fight is mine. Let's go.
Is this it? Yeah, this is the encounter. This is the encounter. I have yet to, in my recording, have an encounter go on as long as this one, and it's entirely because of that weird like green thing with the red back, that huge enemy in the background, like the furthest away from where Celica is, that enemy counters goddamn everything.
Just wait till I
And it doesn't care if you're attacking it or other things. It counters physical attacks. It counters non-elemental magic, I believe. No, it doesn't, because Soul Potion is non-elemental. Well, it counters magic to an extent.
Let's go.
It has stupid defense.
All right.
As you can see, like, its health bar's just barely moving, and the fucker hits like a truck. And this fight, because of it, ends up going on forever. Like, just as like a fair warning, this is a very long encounter. I've yet to record an encounter that's gone on as long as this one. But because it's a new enemy, I've got to show it. But as you can see, everyone's going to start struggling, and Celica's completely worthless because she can't do anything because everything in her skill set will get countered. So she just goes on on mage duty, and I try like this time. I'm going to try magic instead. I'm going to try her Cosmo ability.
Worked like a charm. Not too shabby.
But no, it gets countered, so her turn is immediately ended. Celica is completely worthless until that enemy in particular dies. And so you're going to see me make a focus to try and target it, but then because I used a physical attack with Al, it countered that as well. It will only take magic, and non-elemental magic really specifically. It's such a pain in the ass to fight this thing. It's not the worst thing with counter mechanics. There's a boss near the start of the next chapter that in my recording I've literally just done, and I forgot how terrifying that fight can be. Like, I'll make a 1,000,001 warnings afterwards. It's just after what I count as my point of no return, because there is a hard point of no return in the game. But then there's another one that's but there's a save point like a little whiles before it that I make my one that I'd recommend saving on a different file after you save at that one, just because it's the easiest to then go back to when you need it.
Al's turn.
And you can see, just to try and make a difference, to make it quicker, I even summon. I even get summons in on it because I know that that thing in the background is gonna be the bane of my existence. And it was around this point that I remembered why I didn't do too well on my blind playthrough of Landor Cave. It's entirely that enemy. I game over twice to that enemy on my blind playthrough, so I just wasn't expecting it. And the difficulty curve of this area it's not the steepest, but it is steep enough. It is steep enough that if you're not ready for it, you will struggle here. Which is even more odd that I died like twice on my first playthrough, because I was severely over leveled when I got here, because I got stuck in Heart's Palace. Because I mentioned before at the time that I went to where you were supposed to go before I did Artis section, and the game just turns you away and says you're not supposed to be here yet. There's no wall blocking it. So when I did Artis section, it didn't cross my mind to try it again, so I got stuck. And so I was there for ages, and because I was there for ages, every time I encountered a new enemy, I just defeated it. And so my levels just kept on creeping up after a while. But then I say that, I also didn't have the DLC, so maybe that made a difference. I can't remember what level I was actually on at that point on my blind playthrough. I finished the game post level 100, which I hope I don't do on this one. I might end up doing it, but I hope not. Like, I don't want to be post level 100 if I can help it, because like, it's kind of weird. Like, once you hit level 99, the amount of experience required to level up drops tremendously. And I don't know why. It's almost like a soft reset, because suddenly you level up 10 times in one encounter after level 99, and I've never understood why it does that, but it is almost like a soft reset. And you can see this is my next attempt to try and get something past that goddamn enemy. Heal, and then just use the special, but nope, that gets counted too. Like, there's nothing I can do with it. Oh, and poor Al. Even if that didn't kill her, she was on a stun spot, so it would have ended her turn regardless. So I have to pick her up, and I still need to deal with that weird rhino fuck in the background. But yeah, just as a general thing, if you're not fussed about encountering every single enemy at least once, actively avoid that rhino thing. Like, it will always be in the encounter you're seeing me do, so pay attention to what enemy I went and encountered to encounter this thing, and use that as a template. But at the same time, well, actually, I don't know. I don't think this is your best bet for experience in this dungeon. I think that's on the next floor, because on the next floor, the way they handle the difficulty in the next floor is just we're going to make more enemies be in the arena at one time.
You want me to help? I'll show you no.
Oh, and yeah, also what I decided to do for Celica, my attempt, I can't remember how successful I was just deal with that enemy and keep Celica's glitch percentage around 90%. So then she will still be in her glitch form when her turn still rolls around, since your glitch percentage drops by 10% every time a turn passes if you're in your glitch form. It's only if you use your glitch attack or you hit 100% that it kicks you out of it, but if you drop below 80 then it resets to 0 as well.
We've got no choice.
But now since that enemy's dead, I'm like, hallelujah, Asta League, Fantasia, let's do this. And I can finally end this encounter. And because I used Hone Power last turn as well, she's doing far more damage, so you can go full force with this.
Die! You're going to die here.
God. God, you're going to die here. Like, okay, Celica, I know you're in your glitch form, so you're a little bit more on the crazy side, but chill for a second, will ya? But that enemy's still not dead. Its physical resistance is pretty strong. But at this point, I'd completely relaxed because I knew I was in the clear now. Now that Rhino thing was out of the picture, I knew I was fine.
Let's go.
But to be honest, because of how long this singular encounter went, I was half tempted to cut it anyway, and then just make sure to try and encounter it again later on. But I don't think I ever encounter it again. But you see, I even stopped to have a moment like, what the fuck was that encounter? Before I cut and move on. Like, I had to genuinely stop, like, what the hell? Because that encounter was so long. But a lot of the areas have small lava pits going along them. But as long as the lava is going over a platform, you can run across it with Al. There is one platform that doesn't have like a ledge that the lava is sitting on that you can cross over, so you can't use Al, and you instead use Celica because Celica can glide. And if you've not got the DLC, I'm pretty sure it's like the only time in the game you use Celica's ability. Which is odd because it really feels like they forgot about Celica in terms of her abilities. Like, it feels like Celica was a late inclusion because of her stats being as ridiculous as they are. Like, she was probably always been planned to be there in the plot, but in terms of like how they were going to work her in the gameplay, I kind of feel like she was one of the last things they did. And so it might have just been rushed for the sake of making time, because of how ridiculously broken she is absurd. Like, look at what, she literally one-shot that enemy in the middle there. That's what I mean. She is so goddamn absurdly, like, with her power. Like, her attack stat, I think, is right on the verge of hitting 999, but it hasn't already at this point. It's just insane. It really doesn't feel like they balanced her out as well as they probably should have. That being said, every character does have an ultimate weapon, but it's DLC, so I'm very about how I'm going to handle that. But what I'm thinking of doing is equipping him for the final chapter and the final chapter alone, so then you can still see what the ultimate weapons are like and see how powerful characters can become, but it's not like for the whole duration, it's just for the final stretch, which I think will work because like, without getting into it, the final boss can absolutely be a pain in the arse if you're not ready for it. Like, the final boss in this game is actually real goddamn tough and has a lot of defense and a lot of health. Like, it's a real meaty fight if you're not cheesing it, because by the time you get to the final boss, the 6th and final genre shift ability will be unlocked, because you unlock it as you enter the final chapter, but because it's beyond the point of no return, it's why I say the 5th one's the most powerful for your adventure, because you're not gonna be using that one until then. But the 6th one, the way the 6th one works, without spoiling what it is, it can last as long as you keep up with the button presses, essentially. So it can last forever if you're good with button presses. Problem is, really not that difficult to keep up with it. So you can absolutely keep it going for the entire fight, which is what makes it so ridiculously powerful. Also, here's the thing. Since there's an invisible wall there, you can't target the enemy from that range. You have to go around. Also, new encounter.
Leave it to me.
The giant bug thing.
All good.
Which I believe does counter some attacks. I can't remember what it counters. It might be physical, it might be magic.
Not too shabby.
It's physical. It's physical. It's absolutely physical. So Celica, you're stuffed again until we can deal with it.
I got you.
But thankfully this one's not as bad as the other enemy, which is always a welcome change. But that being said, we're not actually that far away from the end. Like, after this dungeon, we're in endgame, because both the final 2 chapters are really heavily tied together with the plot, and just as I said, the end of the adventure. And like I said, the point of no return is not actually that far away. We'll be hitting it next week. Now, I believe it's either Monday or Tuesday's part next week, assuming I keep up with uploads as well as I have been so far. We're hitting the point of no return. We're that close now, so yeah, if you're following along, do be prepared for that when you get into chapter 10. Like, if you get ahead of me, when you enter chapter 10, the first save point you get an opportunity to save on a different file just to be safe. Thankfully, billiard still works. You can't counter genre shifts, which is probably the biggest saving grace of this goddamn game. You can't counter genre shifts. That's the thing, I want them to... I like the idea of countering, like, of stopping you from being able to use specific things, but I kind of hope it gets a rework in the second game, because it kind of gets more on the frustrating side of things in this game. So I want them to kind of just play around with it a bit more and try and do different things with it to make it a bit more, I don't know, in your favour. Well, not necessarily in your favour, because obviously it kind of defeat the point of it, but just more manageable. But the best thing I could recommend is, like, once you counter an enemy, make it so it's like logged on them or something. So it will say counter, and then it might be like a sword, or counter, and then it'll be an element, sort of like that. So you have it logged what they counter. Look how much experience we got from that giant enemy alone. 250,000 experience. Like, that's enough to level up everyone. I need to get the poison of Celica, so I wasted Pancreas. Even if that means I have to boost her attack again at some other point. Because that's the thing, like, poison, I think is like the only status condition that just never goes away. Like, no matter what you try, it just doesn't go away. That and, oh, there's another one, I think it's sleep, I want to say, that just won't go away no matter what you try. And it goes away, no, it only goes away when you're hit with a physical attack, I think. Also, in this encounter, I had 2 people in a glitch form, so I decided to just keep that bit in, because I thought it was just ridiculous that this ended up happening.
I'll see what I can do.
And we don't see Sheena's glitch form as often as I'd like, so I like showing it off when I can.
Go away, go away, go away!
Because Sheena's design in her glitch form is one of the few that I don't mind. I actually think it kind of suits her. It's nice. It's got a nice aesthetic. Hers and Celica's, both of them I actually kind of like. Al's I don't like. Lucille's I've learnt to live with, but I'm still not a big fan of it. And Claire's is kind of fitting now, but it's kind of fitting to her character, but it's still a bit much. Over there's the super boss, by the way. And you're going to see, I spent a real long time debating whether I should encounter it now or later. But I first decided, you know what, I'm going to go over this way, and I'm going to go back and save, then I'm going to tackle it. So I encounter that enemy and get another tremendous experience boost, 180,000. And since we've done a lap around the entire map, because this floor is a giant circle, so it can just loop straight round. Because if you cross the lava here with Al, you can just go straight back to here. So I save the game, and then I go back over there when I'm good and ready. But you need to use Celica to get over here, because she has to fly over it. And this is the super boss of the game. If you are not completely prepared for it, do not even remotely challenge it. But I'm going to show you how much damage you actually do when you fight it normally, and then I'm going to show you a cheese strategy, because I discovered how to cheese it whilst fighting it. All the glitch spots are just poisoning you, which is a bit frustrating, so you have to be real careful trying to navigate through them.
All good.
Oh yeah, the first thing I show first is that the Omega Brain has 900,000 health and 999 SP. And look at how much damage we're not doing of that 900,000. Well, I say that, we're making a dent, but when you look at how much it does back to us, the fact that I was lucky enough to stumble into like a... Well, I say lucky enough, I just went on a whim and it happened to work out, makes a big difference here. Because it's a super boss of the game, so to be honest, what are you expecting? Especially because, newsflash, we're under-leveled. They don't really expect you to fight it at this instance. They expect you to go through the pain area first and then come back and fight it. And by the end of the pain area, you're definitely going to be like 130. Which is why I'm doing it in post-game.
Leave it to me. All right.
Now Sheena's going to have her turn. And then also, whilst you're at it, try and keep everyone spaced out in this fight. If you're trying to do it legitimately, make sure to keep everyone away from each other, because you don't want more than one person to get hit by everything, which I know doesn't mean much because this enemy has access to AoEs that are screen wide, which he's actually going to use one right now, and you're going to learn through Book of Ambition why this is a super boss. Look at that. Look at the fact that they just fucking fell. There was no other way around it. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm probably not going to win this fight then. Look at 16,000 damage to Celica. Holy shit. So my intention is just, well, because Sheena's magic resistance is so ridiculously good, she can actually survive what the super boss is throwing at her. I'll make her be heal focused and everyone else just focus on attacking. This is the strategy. You use Billiards Game. It does over half her health if you can get her in a hole. At 450, well, it does exactly half her health. So if you can get her in the Billiards Game twice, you win the fight. But now she's below half, she will have access to different attacks, and she will be spamming Book of Ambition more often because, you know, it kind of is a screen wipe. It's a free screen wide kill. And if you don't have Sheena in your party, to be honest, I'm not sure how you're going to win this. Because I said that the only reason why I'm surviving it is because Sheena's magic is really strong. But that attack nearly ended the fight right then and there. Look at how little health she has. The fight nearly ended right that very fucking second. That's what I mean. This super boss is insane. If you don't win this super fight, don't feel bad about it. It's not supposed to be an easy fight. It's not supposed to be something that you can win right now. I just get really lucky. But it starts spamming Book of Ambition and I'm like, stop it! Because I really want to keep them all alive. Because the reward for winning is so worth it. As I wanted all of them to be alive to get there.
Take this. What's up? I'll do it this time. Thanks a bunch. You win.
16,000 damage. Like, I just want everyone to be alive. It's why I'm not finishing the fight with the Kojak again right now. I just want everyone to make it. And so I decided to give it a bop while I'm at it. Just, you know, like, fuck off. Go away. Leave us alone. And now everyone's alive. I'm like, go for it, go for it. And I was like, no, don't know, Kojak. Billiards Game, finish the fight.
Watch your angles.
I'll try my best.
All I need to do is make sure I can get it in one of the holes and we win. Because it does like 450,000. So it just needs to get in one of the holes. And there it is. Like a crack shot. And that wins the fight. And just like that, I defeated the super boss.
Oh, victory!
And now look at the any reward.
Good thing I have to limp. I'll work harder.
Do you see that? It was 1,500,000 and then 999,998. And you also get the Messaloon for getting past the super boss, which you can get if you don't have the super boss installed, because it's a free DLC. You can just go get it. But they definitely want you to fight the super boss first, because the weapon is great for Celica. And when you get it, your reward is the Death and Recital. The Death and Recital, 999 health, 999 SP, 100 attack, 100 magic attack, 300 defense, 300 magic defense, and 500 agility. No, that's stupid. It's goddamn insane. Anyway, next time on Death End Request, we'll explore the rest of the Landor cave to find that dragon. But until then, you guys take care now.